I'm going to be doing cream corn today. To cream corn, you got to milk the corn. And if you've never creamed corn or got the milk from the corn, then this is the video that you need to watch. What you need to do, if you've ever milked a cow, it's kind of similar, or a goat. Some people milk goats. And a lot of people have the machines that suck it up, but you can't, obviously don't have one for corn. So what you got to do, you got to grab your corn. And you grab it right here. You want to put a lot of pressure on it right there and squeeze down. Squeeze down. Squeeze. You didn't fall for that, did you? Maybe you'll stay around and see how we really do this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of take you through it. Let me just give you some numbers real quick in case you don't want to watch the whole thing. Sometimes I'll watch a video just to find how long to can something. So I'm going to do that favor for you. You can, and I'm doing it in pint jars. That's the only way I do corn. And the time limit for canning, pressure canning, you got to pressure can the corn because it's low acid, is 85 minutes. So an hour and 25 minutes. So it takes a little bit of time. So if you're not wanting to take some time, you don't want to do it. Just go to the supermarket and buy some off the shelf. It's probably cheaper that way. I've already silked it, and let me show you here. I've got a pot with some water in it. It's coming to a boil, and I measured it. I just put the corn in it and measured how much water would go in there so I wouldn't overflow my pan. It's about half. It's about half. And so all I'm going to do, I'm going to put this corn. Of course, the temperature is going to go down a little bit, but that's all right. You're not wanting to cook the corn, you're just wanting to blanch the corn. And so we're going to put all this corn in there, and I'm going to blanch it for probably just 5 minutes. You'll hear different things, 4 to 8 minutes or so. Yeah, everybody's got a different time and all that. Don't worry about all that. Look, we all just YouTubers. None of us are just super experts on anything. All that, but just do it. Just do it. Quit worrying about all these yahoos on here that tell you it's got to be this way and that way. And then after I get through blanching it, I've got some water in my sink. Got some water in the sink. I'm going to transfer it to that and begin the cooling process. And then I've got an ice chest down here that I'm going to put water in. I'm going to transfer it from the sink to that to finish the cooling process. And blanching it tends to help it retain its color so it don't change that much. But you never know. You never know. Just do it. If it changes color, don't worry about it. It's still good corn. It's still going to taste just as good and a whole lot better than what you get out of the store. So let me get to blanch this corn, cooling it off, and when I get back and cutting it off, I'll bring you back. And maybe it's cooled off enough. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the corn off and milk it. What's called milking. I'll show you how to do it. I get me a knife, good sharp knife, and I kind of put my finger up against the corn and the knife, and I basically just want to cut about half of the kernel. I mean, if you get a little bit more, that's fine. And the way I do it, I cut 2 passes, and then I scrape on that first one. Then after every time I make a little cut, of course this probably wasn't the best piece of corn to show you, but and then I scrape down. And basically that when I'm scraping down, I'm scraping that juice out of the corn. That's the sweetness. And that's where you get sweet. And then when I get done with it, I go back over the whole thing, and I'm putting a fairly good bit of pressure on it. I'm trying to get all the stuff out of that. You can kind of see right there, there ain't nothing left in there now. And so that was a little corn, so it's not much to it. But I'm going to do all this corn like this. Processes, but here's what you want to do. What I do. I'm going to put this in there. Now you don't want to just leave it with the corn. You want to cut it with water. And so basically, it's about 2 to 1. 2 cups of corn to 1 cup of water. I don't feel like measuring out all in cups. So I'm going to put this about half full, since it was a full thing of corn. I'm going to put that in there. Just going to turn it on like a medium heat. And look, you're going to want to stir this thing, because if you don't, that sugar will burn on the bottom. And you don't want to eat burnt corn. It's nasty. So just keep it stirred, and when it heats up, you just want to heat it through, basically. That's all you want to do. It's good, don't it? Mm-hmm. It's going to be real good. Okay, I got my corn heated through, and I've got my pressure canner. It's heating through too. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put a half a teaspoon of salt in this. I'm not sure if you have to or not, but it's not going to hurt anything. Put a half a teaspoon. If you don't have one of these, go get you one. They're worth it. And then what you want to do, you just want to come in here, get your ladle of some sort, some big scoop. For purposes of showing you how to do it, I'm going to do it this way. In there, I'm going to put a little juice in there with it. What you want to do, you're going to leave about 1 inch headspace. That's about right to that, right there, that rim right there. And then I like to take one of these skewers or chopsticks or whatever you call them. Then you can kind of just mix it up a little bit. Just make sure there's no air bubbles stuck in there. You can see on top of it. See the air, the bubbles. It just gets rid of all that. You want to make sure to wipe the rim. Some people wipe it with vinegar, and that's probably a good idea, because that vinegar is sure enough get any kind of sweetness or sugar and anything like that off. But for this, I'm just going to wipe it off, clean it off. What I do with my lid. Put the lid on. I'm not bearing down, but I am snugging it. I'm going to put it in here, and when I get it loaded up, I should have either 9 or 10 on bottom. Then I'll put a spacer, and then 9 or 10 on top. So I either have 18 or 20 jars, depending on. Well, I got all my jars in here. I've got 9 on bottom, 9 on top. I just put a little oil on my gasket there. It just makes it easier. Going on and off. I'll put it down. Make sure it's got a good fit. Make sure it's tight all the way. Then all I'm going to do, I'm going to wait till this starts spouting steam really hard. My little pop-up valve's going to come up. I'm going to watch this, and it's going to start climbing to about 1 or 2. It won't get all the way because I don't have a weight on top of it. Some people basically just wait till this steams real hard for about 10 minutes. And then what they'll do is they'll put this weight on there. For my elevation, I'm in South Mississippi, so I'm below 1,000 feet sea level. I use a 10-pound weight. And like I said earlier, when I put it on and it pressures up to 10 pounds, I'm going to do mine on 10 pounds. And it's going to process for 85 minutes. And then we'll be able to take it out. See if you can see this. You might hear the rusted gardener in the background. He's on YouTube. That's on 10 pounds. You see my little jiggler Just kind of doing a little bitty hula dance, not shaking crazy. I've had to turn my heat down, obviously, so I just watched it and keep my eye on it. And if it gets jiggling too much, I turn it down a little bit. Time's up. Cut your heat off. Turn your alarm off. And then it's a waiting game. You just wait until the pressure's all the way down. Your pop-up valve is pop back down. Make sure there's no pressure on it, and then we'll open it up and see what we got. Alright, the pressure's gone down. We've taken the weight off of it, the pop-up thing. You basically want to, I always use pot holders because this thing is still hot. Break it loose, no pressure on it, but you still want to pull it away from you. If you can see the steam coming up, that steam is bad news. And it's got water. See, I don't know if you can see water dripping down, but the water drips down. I'm going to put this over here out the way. And I'll pick one of them out and we'll look at it. Use my handy dandy things. We're going to put it over here. And we're going to let it sit there overnight, 24 hours, whatever. And hopefully everything will seal. Then we'll wash them off. And we'll label them and put them up.